How you guys doing today? It's Anthony Ganji, host of Tier Talk, and welcome to another episode of Tier Talk. It's going to be a quick little vlog. Got a chance to see the Oprah Winfrey special on Pelican Bay. And of course, it went to a political left side message of the need to pretty much, or an effort, to end what they term solitary confinement. And to me, right off the bat, that's when I knew Oprah really has no information or has no knowledge about the work that goes behind the wall, because solitary confinement is not really the word that's used anymore. Solitary confinement has evolved. So words like administrative segregation, restrictive housing, those are words that are more suited because it emphasizes the change or the evolution of where we're at with removing an inmate because they pose to be a threat, and bringing them into another area where they can be controlled but still not forgotten. And watching the special that she did, I was upset. I was upset because I expect true objective journalism. And right off the bat, there she was getting most of her advice, which she admitted, was from inmate advocates and inmates. So of course you have people that have animosity to the system already, and then you're going to go ahead and get their opinion and negate the opinion of frontline staff. And even the opinion of the secretary was kind of upsetting. Because I know for a fact from my audience and people from that area, they're not in agreement with what that secretary said. But again, you're looking at someone that may be more political than Frontline, if you will. And you know what's funny, and I got to say this, is that if someone was to commit a crime on the streets or pose a threat on the streets, what do we do with that individual? We remove them. They go into... they get arrested, they go to a jail, they go to prison. But God forbid those that work behind the wall do the same thing. Where's their safety? And what are they supposed to do when there's a threat in the environment? Give us the alternative. But these people that are quick to bastardize a practice, it's not even just a practice, it's a needed tool. You got a threat in the environment. What are you supposed to do with that threat? And I know there's change. I know, eventually you got that door opening with juveniles, but have you read what juveniles do? Have you read about prisons in Wisconsin right now that house juveniles, the threat that juveniles possess? And you're limiting the tools of what we can do with them. I mean, this is the humane way. But again, when you remove them from population, they're still being attended to. They're getting their programs. They're getting to get outside. But you want to scare the public by using the word solitary confinement. It scares people when they don't understand what it is that you're really saying. And also, solitary confinement is primitive. It's not the practice. There's more involved than what was there yesterday. And it's upsetting. And the people that thirst for knowledge about our practices and the tools we employ, they go to you, Oprah. They go to you. And you're supposed to give them good advice, objective advice. Where was Frontline? The people that use the tools, where were they to explain the reasons why? And you know what, to be honest with you, you're never going to get a real picture of a prison. Because once you go in there with cameras running, everything changes. It's not reality. Reality is for the people that remain there when the cameras close, when they're off. And then the truth comes out. But what you're pushing, it doesn't make any sense. If you work this system, you'll see that it's a tool that's needed. We talk about anti-bullying, and to some extent, the reason why you have these programs that push for anti-bullying is because kids cannot learn if they feel threatened. Does that make any sense? Kids cannot learn if they feel threatened. So if I have a bunch of inmates that I need to rehabilitate, and they're looking to change, but the environment's not conducive because of that one inmate or those two inmates that are just not appropriate to be housed in GP because maybe they pose a constant threat or they're just acting up and I cannot move forward with proper programming, we have to act. Because while you focus on the one, the DOC's got to focus on the many. And then I also didn't like the fact that she tried to minimize. Again, it's not overt, But if you read into the political agenda and you read into what the left side wants, it makes us start to think that everything she says has bias to it, even though it may not have bias. But when you talk about someone that's a gang member and automatically being accused of a gang member and being sent to solitary confinement, again, I rather prefer administrative segregation and restrictive housing. Why is that a concern? You know, the biggest threat to corrections is unity and organization. I mean, come on, man. You got one officer watching over 100-something inmates. And in order for them to maintain control, the last thing they need is unity. They don't want the inmates united, especially if those inmates feel justified. And let me tell you something, guys, and I'm sure people have dealt with inmates. Inmates can feel justified for the littlest of things, but they also can feel justified with going against what we need to accomplish. If contraband's being hidden and officers got to do a search, inmate may not want that search to happen. And he may feel that he's right to not want that search to happen. But custody has to worry about safety and security. Now you got an inmate that feels that they're justified. Now you got a united front. They're starting to organize. You could see how that could pose a threat. So, acting in universal precaution and based on reasons that make us think that this person could be a problem, we have to control that individual. And as I said, it's not just inside the prison either. It's outside too. These inmates have contact outside. They could make murder for hires, run sex trafficking, get contraband in the facility. I mean, the list goes on. But if you take away our chance to try to prevent and act on universal precaution, well, then you can't blame us when shit hits the fan. But at the end of the day, we also have to act anyway. Because if we don't, we're going to get hurt. Maybe even killed. And then the other argument is a riot. Again, a riot is based on a united front and organization. And right now, I'm going to go as far as saying justification. And when you do shows like this that go against a needed tool, if you ask the front line, the inmates are going to feel justified in their cause to go against that tool that custody feels is needed. And for the secretary to say that tool's a mistake, and then for you to go back and tell the inmates that the secretary agrees that that tool's a mistake, that could be a problem next time that tool needs to be employed. Because the inmates are going to believe that they're justified in saying, oh, can't put me there, because it was a mistake. Listen, there are practices that we have that we know the reason why. Because we're frontline. Because we work, breathe it. And if you're going to make any changes, you have to go to the front line. You have to listen to what they have to say. And Oprah, shame on you for not seeing or trying to get a middle ground. It's okay if you want to talk about the inmate side. That's fine. But let's hear our side as well. If you feel that it's not a tool that we can use, which again, there is no option, but hypothetically, let's say you feel it is, then give us the alternative. There is none. So in the meantime, maybe it's about time you start bringing the front line to the table and saying, hey, what's going on here? What's happening? How can we make the system better? Because all you're doing in your effort to make change is getting those that protect the public hurt. And you're pushing your knowledge, or what you think you have, because your knowledge is off, to the uninformed, who are going to swallow it up. Not because they believe you know something, it's because they know you. You could sell products that you know nothing about and they'll buy it. Celebrities are not experts. They just have a following based on whatever it is that they do, acting or talk shows. But when they get involved in people's career and they start to push things that go against what should be done, especially if the front line agrees that, hey, Oprah, you did it by a show. You're promoting a sense of literally, You're promoting a sense of doubt and a tool that is needed by us to survive, to maintain a safe and secured facility. But people look at you and they think because you're a celebrity, you automatically know these things. You don't. So what you should do is influence the right way by bringing people to the table, talking to them. And if you want to make change, that's fine. But you cannot make change isolated. You cannot make change for one side, hoping that both sides are going to benefit from it. Talk to both sides. See what's needed. Let one side express. When you go at the very beginning, I talk to inmates, advocates, and inmates, and this is why it's not a good practice, really. And you find that to be objective. Well, let me tell you something. I'll be as objective as you. I talk to the front line, and they feel it is needed. So what do? Really? Again, guys, just venting. My name is Anthony Gange. Your show is Tier Talk, and as always, guys, love you guys. Stay safe.